Hi, welcome to another video in the Study With Me series of Pietro's guitar philosophy. Today we're going to work on the foundation of the relationship between notes and chords, or we could say between melody and harmony. There is a chord progression and we want to make a solo on it. What scales can we use? Or we are writing a song, we started to compose a melody in a certain key, for example, let's say the key of G. How can we choose the right chords to build the harmonic progression to that song? The answer to this kind of questions is one of the most important things in music theory. It's a basic principle that we're going to use all the time in improvisation, in composition, and in arrangement. The starting point is to consider the major scale, or its relative minor, as a set of sounds and to try to understand what chords we can build if we combine together the notes in that given set. The easiest way is to begin to work within the C major scale so that we don't have to deal with sharps and flats. And as we often did in other videos, it's really helpful to start to visualize things on the piano first, then we will find out how to play them on the guitar.
So the set of notes we are dealing with is the set of the white keys of the piano, and the rule with which we are going to build chords is very simple. We're going to choose any one of the 7 notes of the C major scale as a starting point to build a chord, and we will put together with these notes other notes using the third interval as a building construction rule. So this is going to be called the first note of the chord. We miss the second, we play the third. We miss the fourth, we play the fifth. We could go on like this with more notes, but for today we're going to just work with 3-note chords, which are going to be called triads. In each triad, as we said, the notes that compose the chord are called the first, the third, and the fifth. So we have 7 chords like this in the scale. One starting on D, one starting on E, on F, G, A, B. And this one is like the first one we started from. Even though these chords might seem all similar to one another, actually there is a difference. And this difference makes us give the names that we will know to the chords, major, minor, etc. Because if we look at the internal distance of the notes that build the chord, we notice that the third interval can be of 2 kinds. Sometimes we have a distance of 2 whole steps, as it happens here. Sometimes we have a distance of 1.5 steps, as it happens here. A very quick way to notice that is to see how many black keys we have between the 2 notes. If we have 2 black keys, it's 2 whole steps. If we have just 1 black keys, it's 1.5 steps. A chord built like this is a major chord. For example, the second chord of the scale from the note D, it's different, it's the opposite way around, because this interval is a minor third, and this interval is a major third. The opposite way compared to this one. So this is a C major, this is a D minor. And if you check the other chords, you will find that we have an E minor, an F major, check it out yourself, a G major, an A minor, and the last one has a minor third here, so it looks like a B minor, but it also has a minor third here. So it's like a B minor with a flat 5. It's called B minor flat 5, or it has a faster name, which is B diminished. So it's a third kind of chord that we find inside of this scale. And this here is the C major again.
Okay, so now we have found out that in the C major scale we have these 7 triads: C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B minor flat 5 or diminished. I wrote them down, they should be here below me. Write them down yourselves, memorize them, it's very easy and it's super important. What does it mean that these chords are in the key of C in a practical way? It means that if we choose any of these chords to make a chord progression. For example, if I choose D minor and E minor and I play something like if I choose A minor, F and C and I play like and so on, I could jam on these chord progressions. I could record them and loop them and jam on them, improvise on them, using the notes of the C major scale. Or I could start from these chord progressions to make a song in the key of C major and try to find the melody of this song using the notes of the C major scale, because the notes of the C major scale will match perfectly with those of those chords. Okay? Now, there are two more things that we have to point out. One is something that we're just reviewing, I believe. I'm sure that most of you already know this. And it's distances between the notes of the major scale. If we count from C in the C major scale, the distances that lead us to the other notes of the scale are tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. I'm sure you heard that already. So from C to D there is a tone, from D to E there is a tone, from E to F there is just a semitone, and so on. This set of distances is the same in any major key, in any major scale. It's always going to be tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And this leads us to the second very important thing I want to point out, that is, what we found out in the scale of C is going to be valid in any major scale. It means that if we build the chords inside of the other major scales in any key, they're always going to be the same kind of chords, because the internal distances of these other scales are the same distances that we found in the C major scale. So we're going to have always a major chord on the first degree of the scale, two minor chords on the second and on the third degree, two major chords on the fourth and on the fifth, a minor chord on the sixth, and a minor flat 5 or diminished chord on the last degree, on the seventh degree of each major scale. So let's highlight and really remember this general result. In any major scale, this is written here below, copy it, remember it, is the set of chords that we can use. With these two things in mind, we can now take our guitars, go to a close view of my fretboard from above and see some ways in which we can play these chords on our instruments. Here we are. As you know, the philosophy here is, if you let me experience, I will learn. So don't just listen or look to this part of the video, but take your guitar. What you're seeing now in this part of the video is what you see when you look at your fretboard. So follow me in this following part. We are going to start to play the chords in the C major key. Of course, we could play them with chords in open position. C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, but I assume that we already know these positions, so what I would like to do is I would like to see how we could play these voicings, these chords with voicings along the fretboard that could be used also to transpose the same chords in different keys. We will do that in a while. We will try also the keys of E major and G major later. Let's start from the key of C. We will play the chords with two kinds of voicings. One is going to have the root on the fifth string, and the other one is going to have the root on the sixth string. Starting from the ones with the root on the fifth string, they are chords that come from the positions of the chords A and A minor moved up the fretboard. So a major chord with this kind of voicing will be like this, for example, C major. A minor chord with this kind of voicing, this is the root, will be like this one, for example, D minor. And the diminished chord with this root on the 5th string will be like this one, B diminished. You could play it either like this, or muting the 3rd string could be like this. Okay, so now we will combine these 3 voicings in the different points of the scale. Let's start with the notes of the scale first. This is a C on the 5th string. Let's follow the set of the distances that we pointed out before. 1, a tone to go to 2, tone to go to 3, which is an E, semitone to go to note number 4, which is F, then tone, tone, tone to go to 5, which is a G, 6, which is A, and 7, which is B, and semitone to go back to the note number 1, an octave higher. Now let's put on these roots the kind of chords that we found out in the previous part of the video. That is major on the 1st degree, minor on the 2nd, and on the 3rd degree. Then I go up a semitone and I put a major for the 4th degree, F major. Then I go up 1 tone to the 5th degree and it's a major, G major. Then a tone to go to the 6th degree and it's a minor. A tone to go to the last and 7th degree, which is a diminished. Semitone to go back to the chord number 1. Let's go back. Play them with me. A minor, G major, F major, E minor, D minor, C major. I can play again the 7th here, B diminished, and again C major to close. Now with the root on the 6th string, let's look for a C. Here we have a G, A, B, this is a C, 8th fret of the 6th string. Same thing, same procedure again. The notes, 1 tone to go to the 2nd, which is D, tone to go to the 3rd, which is E, semitone to go to the 4th, F. The fretboard is almost finished, so let's go, when we pass the 12th fret, let's go to start again at the beginning of the fretboard. This is the 1st fret past the 12th, it's equivalent to the 1st, F. Okay, so notes 1, 2, 3, 4, start from the 4th here again, 4, a tone to go to note 5, G, a tone to go to note 6, A, a tone to go to note 7, B, and the semitone to close on the note 1 again. Now the chords. In this case the chords will be with the shape of an F. They come from the E or the E minor. For example, chord number 4 or 5 will be like these major chords. Chord number 6 will be with this position. Let's try all of them from the 1st degree. C major, D minor, a tone to go to the 3rd, E minor, the semitone to go to the 4th, but it's uncomfortable here, so let's go back to the 1st fret, chord number 4, F major, chord number 5, a tone above, G major, chord number 6, a tone above, A minor, chord number 7, B diminished. The diminished chord can be played like this. We mute the 4th string and we use just these 3 notes. We don't play the 2nd and the 1st string, so it's just made with these 3 notes. This is a chord that it's going to be a little less used than the other 6 ones, but let's include it in the row of the chords of the key. And we close on the chord number 1. Very good. Now let's see what happens if we move to a different key. Let's work on the key of E major, for example. The great thing about knowing the distances between the notes in the scale and knowing the kind of chords that are built on each degree of the scale is that we can directly play the chords even before knowing their names. I show you how. For example, in E major, let's start from the set of chords with the root on the 6th string. The first chord can be played here in open position, E major. Now the following chords are going to be, the second degree is a tone above this one, so this is the note and it's a minor chord. I don't have to worry about what's its name. Then the third chord is a tone above this one and it's a minor chord. Then a semitone above this one, it's a major chord. Then 3 times 1 tone to go to chord number 5, which is a major, chord number 6, which is a minor, and last one, chord number 7, which is a diminished. And then a semitone to go back to chord number 1. So I played them without even saying their names. Now I can play them again and look how they are called, okay? Of course we need to know their names, but it's really comfortable to be able to play them right away just because of their distance and their kind. Let's go back. We have E. The second one was an F sharp minor. The third one was a G sharp minor. Then a semitone above this one, we have the A major. A tone to go to chord number 5, B major. A tone to go to chord number 6, C sharp minor. A tone to go to D sharp diminished. And a semitone to go back to the E major. Now on the 5th string, let's look for the note E. This is a B, this is a C, D, this is the note E. We are at the 7th fret. Major chord. I didn't mention something about this way of playing this chord. I used to play it with a bar with the ring finger. You could also play it like this, putting 3 different fingers, but as you heard, for example, I played it with a bad sound on this note played by the 2nd finger because the 3 fingers here don't fit quite well if you don't have really small fingers. The 1st string is muted when I play like this. Okay, so I'm just picking the 4 central notes. Okay, back to the key of E major. This was the first chord. A tone to go to chord number 2, which is minor. A tone to go to chord number 3, minor. I'm not saying the names yet. A semitone to go to chord number 4. Back to chord number 3. And 2, the 2 minor chords, and 1. Now I go backwards for the remaining ones. A semitone for chord number 7, which is a diminished. So as you see, I don't have to worry if the chord number 1 is not at the beginning of the fretboard. I go up until I can, then I come back to the central position of the chord number 1, and then I continue backwards to put the other chords below chord number 1. So 1, we were saying 7, diminished. 6, a tone below the 7, and it's a minor. 5. And if we want, we can play the chord number 4 with the open strings in open position. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Say the names: E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, play with me,
A, back to G sharp minor, F sharp minor, to E, chord number 1, D sharp diminished, or minor fret 5, C sharp minor, B major, A major, B major, number 5, number 6, C sharp minor, number 7, D sharp diminished, and number 1 or 8, E major. Now let's practice on one last example, this time looking at my fretboard from the front. Let's check out the key of G. We have the root on the 6th string at the 3rd fret, so the major chord of the 1st degree will be this one, and then from there we follow with one step to go to the 2nd degree, a minor chord, it's going to be A minor, then a whole step to go to the 3rd degree, B minor, half step, a semitone to go to the 4th chord, which is a major, C major, a tone to the 5th, which is D major, a tone to the 6th, which is E minor, and then a tone to the 7th and last degree, which is F sharp diminished. Back to the 6th, E minor, D, C, 3rd degree, B minor, 2nd degree, A minor, 1st, G, 7th, F sharp diminished, and 1st. On the 5th string, the root is here at the 10th fret. Figure out that the empty string, the open string is A, 12th fret is the same note an octave higher, so 2 frets below that we have the G. So the first chord is this one, then going up we have A minor here at the 12th fret. Now let's go backwards, G 1st degree, then F sharp diminished with the root a semitone below, then a tone below we have the 6th degree, E minor, a tone below we have D major, 5th degree, a tone below we have C major, a semitone to the 3rd degree of B minor, a tone below we have the 2nd degree, we can play it here at open position, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F diminished to G. Of course, once you figure out where all of the chords are in a particular key, you can choose some of them and practice repeating just a few chords. For example, the chords 4, 5 and 6 sound very good. You can do in this key like this: 4, 5 and 6. Or for example, the chords 2 and 3 sound very good. You can do them with the root on the 6th string, A minor, chord 2, and B minor, chord number 3. And so on. We're going to work on example like this and jam together in my Play With Me videos. Okay, perfect. You did a very nice work. I hope that everything was clear. Review this last part of the video and try to apply yourself the rules we learned together, choosing another key. Go to the chord number 1 of any key that you want to explore. Look for it with the root on the 5th string or on the 6th string, and from that chord look for the following ones, always with the same rule. The distance of the roots will be
tone, tone, semitone, etc. And the chords will always be of this kind: major, minor, minor, major, major, etc. In the description here below you will find the links to some other videos. Some of them apply what we learned together in playing and improvising. Check them out, they're very fun. We're going to build some chord progressions in these keys, the keys of C or G or E. Choose chords, make a chord progression and improvise on it together. Then there are also 2 more links to videos that can be considered like the part 2 and 3 of this video, because they further develop kind of chords that we can build from the major scale. Today we worked on the triads. In the second part we're going to work on power chords and some intervals that are very useful and interesting for arpeggios. In the part 3 we're going to work on the 7th chords. So check those out. In the meanwhile, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you liked it. If so, share it, put a thumb, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Ciao!